US-India Strategic Clean Energy Partnership (SCP) ministerial meeting convened in Washington, D.C. It was launched in 2021 to advance energy security and innovation, focusing on scaling up clean energy technologies, electrification and decarbonization, etc. It is under US-India Climate and Clean Energy Agenda 2030 partnership. Key initiatives highlighted at SCP Ministerial Renewable Energy Technology Action Platform, RETAP, launched in 2023 for developing actionable roadmaps for hydrogen, long-duration energy storage, offshore wind, etc. through incubation investment industry networks. Launch of National Center for Hydrogen Safety in India. Public-Private Energy Storage Task Force to address policy frameworks, safety, manufacturing and supply chains, etc. Launch projects like Technical Feasibility Study of Battery Energy Storage System (BESS) in Assam and BESS pilots in Haryana. Recognized. Pumped storage as a long-term energy storage option. Engagement. On Sustainable Aviation Fuels, SAF, to support training, supply chain capacity building, fuel certification, etc. New developments in Smart Grid under Ascendia Collaborative for Smart Distribution System with Storage, UPSC, program, funded by US Department of Energy and India's Department of Science and Technology. UPSC program bridges gap between smart grid, storage, and renewable energy research, and it is under US-India Partnership to Advance Clean Energy Research, PESAR. Guidelines issued by the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, under the Battery Waste Management Rules 2022, aim to promote proper battery waste management practices and enhance environmental sustainability across the country. Environmental compensation, EC, to be levied is divided into two regimes. EC Regime 1, EC will be levied to the producers for non-fulfillment of metal-wise, for lead-acid batteries and for lithium-ion and other batteries, EPR targets. EC Regime 2, EC will be levied to any entity for non-compliances of BWM Rules 2022 based on application fees. Diverging growth trajectories of Punjab and Haryana, however, post-1990s Punjab's contribution to GDP declined whereas Haryana's contribution has grown robustly. The paper questions this as a form of Dutch disease. Dutch disease in economics refers to rapid growth of one sector, agriculture, natural resources, leading to decline in other sectors, industry, services, etc. India's first CO2-to-methanol pilot plant proposed in Pune, Maharashtra. Plant with capacity of 1.4 tons per day is being implemented under public-private partnership with support from Department of Science and Technology. About CO2 to methanol conversion currently, carbon utilization technologies like CO2 to methanol are less developed compared to capture ones. CO2 to methanol involves capturing carbon emissions before they enter atmosphere, particularly from industrial sources like power plants or directly from air via direct air capture technologies. Captured CO2 is then hydrogenated, reacted with hydrogen to produce methanol. About carbon capture, utilization and storage, CCUS refers to group of technologies for capturing of CO2 from large and stationary CO2 emitting sources like fossil fuel-based power plants and other industries. International Energy Agency, it involves transport of captured CO2 by pipeline or through shipping, rail or trucks to sites. For utilization in different applications, injections into geological formations or depleted oil gas fields for permanent storage and trapping of CO2. Recently, antitrust investigations conducted by Competition Commission of India (CCI) found that Amazon and Flipkart violated local competition laws, antitrust laws, by offering exclusive launches, giving preference to select sellers, prioritizing certain listings, etc. Restrictions on operation of e-commerce entities in India. Restrictions on exclusive selling. No seller can sell its products exclusively on any marketplace platform, and that all vendors on the e-commerce platform should be provided services in a fair and non-discriminatory manner. Services include fulfillment, logistics, warehousing, advertisement, payments, and financing, among others. Restrictions on purchases by vendors. Any vendor who purchases 25% or more of its inventory from an e-commerce group company will be considered to be controlled by that e-commerce company and thereby barred from selling on its portal. Models for offering e-commerce services. Inventory model. Inventory of goods and services is owned by e-commerce entity and sold directly to the customers. In India, FDI is not permitted in this model to protect India's unorganized retail sector not capable of offering big discounts. Marketplace model. E-commerce entity provides a technology platform to act as a facilitator between buyer and seller. 100% FDI is permitted under automatic route. India-Germany platform for investments in renewable energies worldwide launched at 4th Global Renewable Energy Investors Meet and Expo, Reinvest. Reinvest is organized by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. At the 52nd Gastech Exhibition and Conference, Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas highlighted the energy trilemma faced by India as it is expected to contribute to 35% of global energy demand in the next 2 decades. About energy trilemma, it consists of 3 often conflicting challenges related to energy which need to be balanced in the context of the rapidly changing energy sector. The trilemma comprises energy security, capacity to meet present and future energy demand reliably through robust supply chains. Affordability, equitable access to energy. Sustainability, transitioning towards mitigating environmental impact of energy use and climate change impacts. A recent study of fossils from Australia revealed the role of tectonic activity as the reason for evolution of coelacanths. About coelacanths, they are deep-sea fish that live off the coasts of southern Africa and Indonesia. They are evolutionary unique lobe-finned fish, having robust bones in their fins similar to bones in our arms. More closely related to tetrapods, animals with backbones and 4 limbs like frogs, than to most other fishes. India is hosting formal meetings of the COP9 Bureau and Funds Approval Committee of the UNESCO International Convention Against Doping in Sport in New Delhi. About the convention adopted in 2005 at Paris, France. Naga King Chili or Raja Mircha. Sehama village in Nagaland celebrated the Naga King Chili festival, exhibiting a vibrant example of community farming. About Naga King chili, Capsicum chinense Jacquin, one of the world's hottest chilies, certified by Guinness World Records in 2006 for its intense heat, exceeding 1 million Scoville heat units. Also referred as Bhoot Jolokia and Ghost Pepper. Received the Geographical Indication (GI) tag in 2008. Primarily cultivated in the states of Nagaland, Assam, Manipur and to a lesser extent in Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh and Meghalaya. Grown in large bamboo groves during the peak harvest months of August-September. Karma festival is celebrated in Jharkhand and other states of India. About Karma festival, it is a harvest festival popular among Munda, Ho, Orao, Baga, Kharia and Santhal people. It is traditionally celebrated on 11th day of lunar fortnight in month of Bhadra, August to September in Gregorian calendar. Karam tree, traditionally seen as a symbol of Karam Devta Karmasni, is worshipped during festival. Karam tree symbolize fertility, prosperity, etc. During festival, branch of Karam tree is carried by Karma dancers, accompanied by singing and dancing. Some recent reports have highlighted that kleptoparasitism among birds are helping spread the avian influenza. About kleptoparasitism or kleptoparasitism, it is a form of feeding where one animal takes prey from another that has caught, killed, or otherwise prepared, including stored food. E.g., sperm whales, western gulls, hyenas, etc. It can be intraspecific, where the parasite is the same species as the victim, or interspecific, where the parasite is a different species. Relative Economic Performance of Indian States, 1960 to 61 to 2023-24 paper has been released by the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, EACPM. Rape, according to the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, BNS, 2023 occurs when a man has sexual intercourse with a woman without her consent, against her will, through coercion, deception, or when the woman is under 18 or unable to consent. Rights of rape victims in India. Right to zero FIR. Victims can file a zero first information report, FIR, at any police station, regardless of jurisdiction. The FIR will be transferred to the appropriate station for investigation. Free medical treatment under Section 357C of the Code of Criminal Procedure, CRPC, 1973, now replaced as Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, BNSS, 2023. All hospitals must provide free medical treatment to rape victims. No two-finger test. No doctor shall possess the right to do two-finger tests while doing the medical examination, which was deemed a violation of the survivor's dignity. What are the recent developments on India-China disengagement along the line? The 31st meeting of Working Mechanism for Consultation and Coordination on India-China Border Affairs, WMCC, was described as frank, constructive, and forward-looking, and urged parties to narrow down the differences and find early resolution of the outstanding issues. The expression "narrow down the differences" had been used for the first time in the bilateral talks on the border standoff and indicated hope for further disengagement. Daulat Beg Oldi, DBO. Chinese encroached in the Daulat Beg Oldi DBO sector lying on the Indian side. The DBO airstrip, crucial for winter operations and reinforcements, is accessible by the 255 km long Darbukshuk DBO road for India. The Union Budget 2024-25 revealed plans to develop corridor projects for the Vishnupad Temple at Gaya and the Mahabodhi Temple at Bodh Gaya in Bihar. Vishnupad Temple at Gaya. It is situated on the banks of the Falgu River in Gaya district of Bihar. The temple is dedicated to Lord Vishnu. Legend. According to local mythology, a demon named Gayasur requested the gods to grant him the power to help others attain moksha, liberation from the cycle of rebirth. The temple stands about 100 feet tall and features 44 pillars constructed from large grey granite blocks, Munger black stone, joined with iron clamps. The octagonal shrine is oriented towards the east. Construction. It was constructed in 1787 under the orders of Queen Ahilyabai Holkar. Cultural practices. The temple is particularly significant during Pitra Paksh, a period dedicated to honoring ancestors, attracting many devotees. The Brahma Kalpit Brahmans, also referred to as Gayawal Brahmans, have been the traditional priests of the temple since ancient times. Mahabodhi Temple at Bodh Gaya, it is believed to be the site where Gautam Buddha attained enlightenment under the Mahabodhi tree. Construction of temple. The original temple was built by Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BC, with the current structure dating back to the 5th, 6th centuries. Architectural features. It comprises the 50 m high grand temple, the Vajrasana, sacred Bodhi tree, and other 6 sacred sites of Buddha's enlightenment. It is surrounded by numerous ancient votive stupas, well maintained and protected by inner, middle and outer circular boundaries. It is one of the earliest brick temples from the Gupta period, influencing later brick architecture. The Vajrasana, the diamond throne, was originally installed by Emperor Asoka to mark the spot where Buddha sat and meditated. Sacred sites. Bodhi tree, believed to be a direct descendant of the tree under which Buddha attained enlightenment. Animeshlochan Chaitya, where Buddha spent the 2nd week of meditation after attaining enlightenment. Ratnachakrama, site of Buddha's 3rd week after attaining enlightenment. Ratnaghar Chaitya, site of Buddha's 4th week after attaining enlightenment. Ajpala Nigrodh tree, site of Buddha's 5th week after attaining enlightenment. Lotus pond, site of Buddha's 6th week after attaining enlightenment. Rajyatana tree, site of Buddha's 7th week after attaining enlightenment. Recognition. It has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2002. Recently, the 450th Jyoti Jot Divas, passing away day, of Shri Guru Amardas Ji, the 3rd Sikh Guru, was marked. Who was Shri Guru Amardas Ji? Born in 1479 at Basrake in Amritsar district, Shri Guru Amardas Ji was raised in an orthodox Hindu family. He was deeply inspired by the hymns of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji and adopted Shri Guru Angad Dev Ji as his spiritual guide. Appointed as the 3rd Guru, succeeding Guru Angad Ji, in March 1552 at the age of 73, he established his headquarters in Goindawal. Key contributions. Guru Amardas Ji divided the Sikh community into 22 administrative districts, manjis, to facilitate the spread of Sikh teachings. He reinforced the tradition of Guru Ka Langar, communal kitchen, by insisting that visitors eat before meeting him, promoting equality and community. His interaction with Emperor Akbar led to the abolition of toll tax, pilgrims tax, for non-Muslims and solidified a respectful relationship. He actively campaigned against social injustices and abolished the custom of sati and pardah system among the Sikhs. He introduced the ceremony of the Anand Karaj marriage. Legacy and final years. Guru Amardas Ji constructed a Boli at Goindawal Sahib, making it a significant Sikh pilgrimage site. He composed 869 verses, though some accounts state there were 709, including Anand Sahib, and Shri Guru Arjan Dev Ji incorporated all these shabads into the Guru Granth Sahib. He passed away on 1st September 1574, at the age of 95, leaving a profound legacy that continues to inspire the Sikh community today. The Telangana government plans to build an AI city with the aim to become a global hub for artificial intelligence. The Telangana AI mission, in collaboration with NASSCOM, will assist the government in the implementation of the AI framework to prevent the misuse of AI technologies. According to a report by the Directorate General of GST Intelligence, DGGI, many providers of online information and database access or retrieval (ORDAR) services based abroad represent a relatively untapped sector with tremendous revenue potential. About online information and database access or retrieval (ODR) services, it is a category of services provided through the medium of the Internet and received by the recipient online without having any physical interface with the supplier of such services. Credit Guarantee Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises (CGTMSE) scheme. Women-owned micro and small enterprises will get enhanced credit guarantee coverage of 90% under the CGTMSE scheme after its board approved the new guidelines recently. It was started by Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises (MOMSME), started Credit Guarantee Scheme for Micro and Small Enterprises (MSEs) in the year 2000. The corpus of CGTMSE is being contributed by the Government of India and SIDBI in the ratio of 4:1. In cases of default, the trust settles the claim up to 75%, 85% per 80% wherever applicable, of the amount in default of the credit facility extended by the lending institution. In cases of default, the trust settles the claim up to 75%, 85% per 80% wherever applicable, of the amount in default of the credit facility extended by the lending institution. A 59-year-old British man narrowly escaped death after a seemingly minor spider bite that turned into a life-threatening disease named necrotizing fasciitis. Necrotizing fasciitis, also known as flesh-eating disease, is a rare and life-threatening bacterial infection that affects the tissue under your skin called fascia. It is a form of necrotizing soft tissue infection (NSTI). These life-threatening infections affect the skin, muscles, and soft tissue and cause patches of tissue to die. Recently, the Department of Fisheries under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying has designated the Ikar Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute (CMFRI) as a center of excellence for seaweed cultivation. Recently, the Department of Fisheries under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying has designated the Ikar Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute (CMFRI) as a center of excellence for seaweed cultivation. Rapa Nui, also known as Easter Island, never experienced a rhesus population collapse, according to an analysis of ancient DNA from 15 former inhabitants of the remote island in the Pacific Ocean. Rapa Nui, also known as Easter Island, is a Chilean dependency in the southeastern Pacific Ocean. It is the easternmost outpost of the Polynesian island world. Rapa Nui, also known as Easter Island, is a Chilean dependency in the southeastern Pacific Ocean. It is the easternmost outpost of the Polynesian island world. What is a telescope? A telescope is an optical instrument that allows us to observe distant objects by collecting and focusing light. Contrary to the common belief that telescopes are primarily designed to make objects appear larger, their main function is to increase the brightness of celestial objects. This is achieved through their light-gathering power, which determines how much light they can collect from faint or distant sources. The key factor that influences a telescope's light-gathering ability is its aperture, the size of the opening through which light enters. The larger the aperture, the more light the telescope can capture, resulting in brighter and clearer images of celestial bodies. Aperture refers to the diameter of the telescope's opening, objective lens, that controls how much light is allowed to pass through. A larger aperture allows more light to be gathered, making faint objects, such as distant stars and galaxies, visible. For instance, when the human eye's pupil is fully dilated, Its aperture area is about 153.9 square millimeters. In contrast, a small 0.07 meter reflecting telescope, commonly available as a toy, has an aperture area of 18,241.4 square millimeters. This means the telescope has 118.5 times more light collecting area than the human eye, allowing it to capture much more light and make dim objects easier to see. Two types of telescopes. Celestial objects emit light in all directions. But only light rays traveling in the direction of the Earth will reach us. And when these rays reach us after a lengthy journey, they are virtually parallel. There are two ways to concentrate these rays and create an image. Reflecting telescopes. In a reflecting telescope, rays reflected by the primary mirror, concave mirror, are diverted to a secondary mirror, which reflects them into an eyepiece with a small lens, convex lens, to enhance the image. The image produced by this reflecting telescope is real, inverted, and smaller. Most contemporary telescopes are such reflecting telescopes. E.g., Hubble Space Telescope, James Webb Space Telescope, Very Large Telescope, Chile, etc. Primarily used for deep sky observation, reflecting telescopes have larger mirrors and thus larger apertures. Larger apertures allow reflectors to gather more light, which is crucial for viewing faint objects like distant galaxies, nebulae, and star clusters. Advantages: more cost-effective to produce larger mirrors for reflecting telescopes than larger lenses used in refracting telescopes. No chromatic aberration since mirrors reflect all wavelengths equally. Disadvantages: requires regular maintenance. Example, mirror alignment. Refracting telescope. A refracting telescope is an optical instrument that uses lenses to gather and focus light in order to magnify distant objects. It typically consists of two main lenses: objective lens, the primary lens that collects light and brings it to a focus, forming an image; eyepiece lens, the secondary lens that magnifies the image formed by the objective lens for viewing. Primarily used for high magnification observations, refractors excel at viewing bright objects, example, planets, moon, stars, because their lenses can focus light sharply without the interference of additional mirrors. They are better suited for high magnification observations where sharp, clear images are priority. Example, Yerkes Observatory Refracting Telescope, the US. Advantages: produces sharp, high-contrast images, especially for planetary observations. Generally easier to maintain than reflecting telescopes. Disadvantages: can become expensive as lens size increases. Can be more expensive than reflecting telescopes of the same aperture. Limit on lens size. To observe fainter cosmic objects, much bigger lenses are required, which will slump under their own weight and distort the image. The maximum practicable lens size in a refracting telescope is around 1 m. The world's largest refracting telescope is at Yerkes Observatory in the US, with a 1.02 m lens. Chromatic aberration, color fringing, can occur, especially in larger refractors. Chromatic aberration is a type of optical distortion that occurs when a lens fails to focus all colors of light at the same point. This results in a blurred image with color fringes around objects, especially noticeable in high-contrast scenes. Cause: light consists of various wavelengths, colors. Lenses bend, refract, light differently based on its wavelength. Shorter wavelengths, blue light, are bent more than longer wavelengths, red light. Since mirrors reflect light, not refract, so chromatic aberration is present in lenses, not in mirrors. Reflection does not depend on the wavelength of the light. All colors of light are reflected uniformly. Limits to reflecting telescopes. A telescope with a higher limiting magnitude is the brightness of the faintest object visible to an optical instrument, is required to look deep into the universe, which demands a larger primary mirror. However, there is a limit to the size of the primary mirror. A mirror wider than around 8.5 m will sink under its own weight, distorting its surface. Hence, instead of a single primary mirror, today's large reflecting telescopes have many small mirrors. Each piece is small enough to remain firm without slumping. And when they are combined, the overall light collecting area, aperture, is still large. Example: James Webb Space Telescope's primary mirror is composed of 18 hexagonal segments. These segments work together to form a single, large mirror with a diameter of 6.5 meters. Advanced telescopes around the world. Large Binocular Telescope. The largest telescope to date is the Large Binocular Telescope, LBT, which has 8.4 m wide mirrors and an effective combined aperture of 11.9 m. It is located at the Mount Graham International Observatory in Arizona, USA. Extremely Large Telescope. The Extremely Large Telescope, ELT, is under construction atop the Cerro Armizunes in the Atacama Desert in Chile as part of the European Southern Observatory. It has 5 mirrors and a combined aperture of 39.3 m. It is expected to be completed by 2028. The ELT's light-gathering power will exceed that of any telescope to date. Our eyes can discern two lights burning 30 centimeters apart and kept 1 kilometer away. In perfect conditions, the ELT can distinguish two lights kept 30 centimeters apart from 12,000 kilometers away. Subaru Telescope is an 8.2 m wide Japanese telescope located at the Mauna Kea Observatory in Hawaii. It recently used 10 hours of exposure. Time to capture a faint celestial object with a visual magnitude of 27.7, which is 100 million times fainter than what any human eye can detect. James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, launched in 2021 by NASA. JWST is orbiting the Sun at the L2 Lagrange point, 1.5 million km from Earth. The infrared telescope has a 6.5-meter primary mirror. It detects near-infrared and mid-infrared wavelengths to observe faint and distant objects. Why are telescopes set up on mountains? The Earth's tumultuous atmosphere interferes with the telescope's functioning. Telescopes are often set up on mountains for several key reasons. Reduced atmospheric interference. At higher altitudes, the atmosphere is thinner. The thinner atmosphere absorbs and scatters less light, improving the visibility of faint celestial objects. Less air turbulence. Higher altitudes often experience less air turbulence compared to lower elevations, where weather systems can cause more turbulent air movement. This reduces blurring or distortion of images caused by atmospheric turbulence. Space telescopes are more than 400 kilometers above sea level, allowing them to entirely escape atmospheric disturbances. That is why the Hubble Space Telescope has a resolving power of around 0.04 arcsec, 10 times greater than the best ground-based telescopes. Clearer skies. Higher elevations generally have lower humidity levels, which means there is less water vapor in the atmosphere. This helps reduce cloud cover and atmospheric absorption, allowing for more frequent and prolonged observations. Minimized light pollution. Mountain locations are often remote and away from large cities, which helps reduce light pollution and makes high-altitude locations ideal for clear, unobstructed observations. Variable rate technology, VRT equipment like seeders and sprayers that adjust the amount of inputs, example, water, fertilizers, based on data collected. Tamil Nadu celebrates Periyar's birth anniversary as Social Justice Day since 2021, whereas the World Day of Social Justice is 20th February. New parasitoid wasp species, Centratus pearlmani, recently discovered by researchers in Mississippi in eastern US. The drug lenacapavir has gained significant attention for its potential in preventing HIV. It is administered through biannual injections, as numerous clinical trials have shown it to be more effective than traditional oral preventive treatments, known as pre-exposure, PrEP. Recently, Israel's Mossad reportedly planted explosives in thousands of pagers ordered by Hezbollah, leading to a deadly explosion in Lebanon. The detonation of thousands of pagers targeting Hezbollah in Lebanon has left a mysterious trail from Taiwan to Hungary, while raising the prospect of another full-scale war in the Middle East between the Iran-backed group and arch-foe Israel. What is a pager? A pager, or beeper, is a portable communication device used to receive short messages via radio frequency. While largely replaced by mobile phones in the 1990s, Hezbollah still uses pagers for low-tech communication to evade Israeli tracking. How does it work? Pagers work by receiving short messages sent via radio waves. When a message is transmitted, the pager alerts the user, who can then respond using a nearby phone. Since pagers don't actively transmit signals like mobile phones, they are harder to track. Seaweed, the Iker Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, CMFRI, has been designated as a center of excellence for seaweed cultivation by the Department of Fisheries under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry, and Dairying.